What's up, friends? It's Rock Chalk Sports here on KansasNation.com, as well as ESPN Kansas City. With Dan Courtwright, I am Sean Kellerman. Thanks for joining us. Going to talk Big 12 basketball here in the opening segment today, as Iowa State and Houston did battle last night at Hilton Coliseum. It was the Clones who came out on top, 70-67. I'd imagine there were some big feelings for Houston plus 2.5 bettors, as Iowa State tried to give that thing away at the end after they completely came back from down 10
Who
late.
was it at the line? Buchanan?
Buchanan missed the front end.
Man.
Lipsy, not a good free throw shooter, man.
No,
He is not a
nobody.
good
They're
free
the
throw-
worst free throw shooting
They
team
are.
in the Big 12. They're shooting 67%.
That's going to come back and bite them. But more specifically, we're going to talk about that game as it relates to our Jayhawks, of course, as honestly, that result kind of needed to happen. It didn't look good as Iowa State was down by 10 at 63-53, but they came back and won. If you caught yesterday's show, we did a breakdown of each of the top 5 teams in the conference, because there's a little bit of separation after the top 5 in terms of their goals to win a Big 12 regular season championship. And we're kind of going to revisit that now that the
Yeah, but we're gonna do the
Iowa
bottom
State
5.
game.
No,
right. K-State. No, but yeah, the Tang, man, that Tang stuff is crazy.
It is. Do you think I was too mean yesterday?
No, I don't think you were too
Okay,
mean.
all right.
But it is kind of funny because if KU fans or anybody has disdain toward Tang, that disdain is rooted in the fact that he was K-State's head coach.
Sure.
And that is because KU fans don't like K-State, right?
Yeah.
KU fans don't like it. So Tang's no longer the coach. The funnier thing about this, as it relates, is K-State is going to be more screwed in this
gonna be
situation
taken for a
than
ride.
Tang. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. And they've just handled this poorly. You
Which, by the
see
way,
people on social media. You've seen, I think, Jeff Goodman. You've seen Fran Fraschilla. You've
Yeah.
seen Myron Metcalf. They're saying, what is going on here? Because
Yeah.
they're going to end up having to pay him anyway. And again,
Seth
I
did.
think it's funny because, yeah, you know, Tang was what he was, but now he's not at K-State anymore. And now it's K-State who's getting the bad
Yeah.
ramifications of this.
And K-State might have to pay the $19 million and some damages as well. And I guess Tang is lawyered up. And
Yeah, quickly.
he's gonna try to take him to the cleaners, man. By the way, I just want to get this clear the air on this. I still like, if Jerome Tang was like the Wake Forest head coach, I still wouldn't like him.
Oh, no, I agree.
Like he's again, he's a snake oil
I
salesman.
agree. But at this point, I mean, you're going to cheer for K-State to be in worse shape moving forward than you are Tang.
That's
worse
true.
shape moving forward.
I feel bad for the
K-State,
I feel
I
bad
mean-
for the boosters, like those poor farmers out in Western
Yeah.
Kansas who Jerome Tang has just soaked for money.
Man, and now they're not going to have as much money for their football program either.
Darn.
It's heartbreaking. And you would think, and there's a lot of, I mean, K-State's going to get a decent coach.
Yeah.
It's still a Big 12 program. But
did you
there are some coaches who are going to be turned off from the fact that this was handled in this way,
Right.
and buyouts are.
I was like, did you see? I think it was on Go Power Cat. There was a message board. Somebody was like, they're like, my top 2 right now. Like, what are the odds we get either Tommy Lloyd or Dusty May? And I was like, dude,
Oh my God. Oh my God.
what?
No,
I was
yeah.
like, give it the old college try.
The teams who have been 1-2 in the country the majority of the season. Yeah, let's
right,
just
you
grab
know,
their coaches.
We can, yeah.
Well, what was
We
it?
can
Was it
speculate.
on? Did you just knock the hat over?
no.
What are you doing?
I'm gonna leave it there.
Anyway,
It's my Gail Sayers hat.
how about the take a couple years ago that I don't even remember his name? One of the K-State reporters who said,
Derek Young.
"Is that who it was?" No, I don't think that's.
Well, I
who
don't
it
know
was.
what you're talking about.
Yeah, but you will once I start talking about it. It's the video of him saying there's an argument to be made that you'd be more comfortable with Jerome Tang leading your basketball program than Bill Self.
Oh gosh.
I mean, this was literally said. I think it was on.
Was it
I think it was on
Derek Young?
Fitz's podcast.
Was it Fitz? It might have been Fitz. Yeah.
It's gonna drive us crazy. We'll
That feels
find it
like a
out.
Fitz thing
People
to
who are
say.
watching right now are saying this is who it was, but
What a
we'll
joke.
we'll find it eventually. But anyway,
Also, I feel bad for K-State fans, and again, I don't want to throw any fellow journalists under the bus, but like their media is also not great. It feels like they're just like, and Jerome Tang, I will give credit to Jerome Tang. He said that like the media in Manhattan and the media that covers K-State are like poisonous and they're toxic. He said this maybe 2 years ago, maybe last year. He said the media was toxic. And I agree, like if you, at least the top 2 guys, right? Like you look at Derek Young and fits, and you're like, yeah, well, I mean, they like to start stuff.
I don't know
man.
if I've never interacted with either of those guys, but
I keep my finger on the pulse of what's going on over there in Manhattan, just out of spite.
Big 12 basketball here in the opening segment. Big 12 ramifications, and again, hopefully, as we discuss this, you guys can stick with us as we look at the schedules. But that's what we do. We're trying to project where seeds might be come the Big 12 tournament, trying to project where Kansas might finish. And now, as it is, the bottom line is Kansas controls their own destiny for a Big 12 regular season championship. Of course, a sharing one because Houston takes its second loss. Kansas gets Houston.
Well, I wouldn't say
and Kansas gets Arizona.
I would say Kansas doesn't hold their own destiny. They do because they have to win out.
That's what I'm saying.
Yes,
Yeah,
but I'm
but
saying
that's
like
the root of the
also,
saying.
also Houston needs to lose. Arizona needs to lose.
But they just need to lose to Kansas. That's the root of the saying.
That's true. I guess
Control
that's
your
right.
own destiny.
Yeah,
Because then
this
you
is
would
fair.
hang a third
Right.
loss on both of those guys, and KU
And
just
then-
have three. But yes.
Does Iowa State need
Uphill
to lose
battle.
again? No, because
they're
we
at
talked about
three
this
and
yesterday. Yeah,
Tech's
that's right.
three.
Yeah.
So Dan liked Iowa State to lose the game.
I did.
And
It looked
they
like they
did
weren't
not
going to.
lose the game. But and we can talk about this a little bit as well. We were talking about this before the show. I don't think Iowa State is as strong as they were last year. I don't think Texas Tech is as strong as they were last year. And maybe that's me being short-sighted and saying Texas Tech doesn't have Darion Williams. Yeah, they've got a better JT Toppin, and he was already the Big 12 Player of the Year. They've got a better Christian Anderson, and he's a sophomore now, and they've got some other pieces, but they don't have Darion Williams. Iowa State, yeah, they've got some nice pieces. Buchanan's a rim protector. This Bateman kid's going to be the real deal, it seems like, but
Yeah,
they don't have
gosh.
Curtis Jones, and they don't have Keyshawn Gilbert. So interesting. Who knows? But we'll talk about that in the opening segment. Next segment, we are going to talk Chiefs. Dan, you're going to keep us up to date on what's been going on the past couple weeks for Kansas City Chiefs football in the coaching ranks. Want to preview that?
Yeah, there's been 5 coaches, I believe, who have been recently hired by the Chiefs. A couple of offensive and defensive quality control guys. Not going to spend too much time on that, but a couple of big names that I think there's some high upside for. DeMarco Murray as running backs coach. I love it, but if you ask OU fans, they hate it. They hate him. And maybe it's because they've seen a slow decline in yards per game ever since he's been taken over. But he also, he was able to develop Ramondre Stevenson and some other guys. So I don't know. We'll see. I like it, though. And a couple of other nice additions to the coaching staff as well. It's rare you see this much turnover on a coaching staff while the head coach remains the same. I'm not saying I think Andy should be fired. I love Andy, and I think he should remain the head coach. But it is just this is a rarity where you're seeing a lot of turnover internally because the Kansas City Chiefs understand that, hey, whatever happened last year, that was a problem. We need to completely shift focus and, address the points of emphasis that need to be addressed. And they're certainly doing that.
Yeah, they are. And again, it was not fun, the back half of the Chiefs season. How many days did we have just absolutely ruined? You know
Yeah.
what really comes to mind
Those
is
Monday shows were tough after
the
those losses.
Texans game on Sunday Night Football,
Gosh.
where we couldn't score.
Yeah.
Texans defense was awesome, but that was the game the Chiefs absolutely had to win. I remember the public was throwing all sorts of money at the Chiefs saying, hey, they're not losing this one at home because this is like their last shot to really stay in it. And then they just, again, laid an egg. And it was just like, wow, this is a mess in a season that ends up 6-11. Shout out to Chris Oladokin, by the way. After that, we are going to be joined by Kevin Flaherty, Kansas City Sports Network via Zoom. Kevin will talk to us about KU basketball, his thoughts on the game over the weekend, and if he thinks Kansas has a realistic shot at the Big 12 regular season championship. And then it's a Top 10 Tuesday. It's been a few weeks, Dan. What do we got?
It has. What's the last top 10 we did? I'm trying to think.
Oh, man, been a while.
It was a good one that we did. For this one, I'm running late. I am doing a Valentine's Day themed top 10. I could have done President's Day, and I think no, I already did. I did a top 10 presidents at our old show, and that was on Election Day, and that was a fun one. I really liked that one, but instead, in honor of Valentine's Day being over this past weekend and me and my fiance doing everything a day later, I'm going to do this later too. I'm going to do my top 10 3 words that women love to hear.
Top 10 3 words. Okay. Have you done this before?
No. This has been thrown around a lot.
Okay.
I mentioned it to you maybe like 2 months ago.
Fair enough.
And I had to put a little bit of work into it last night, but got it all done.
I had to fine tune it a little bit.
Yeah.
And then after the top 10, we're going to go to Allen Fieldhouse here from Bill Self at his weekly press conference that was yesterday, previewing Oklahoma State. A few words on drinking that Tang as well. And then we're going to close out the show with our college basketball game picks. Monday night, not a lot of action. It was a great game. Tuesday and Wednesday busier in the college basketball landscape. Dan, tell us about Crown Automotive before we dive into Iowa State Houston.
I'd love to tell you about Crown Automotive. Crown Automotive here in Lawrence, the best place to go get any kind of new or used car. They have Toyotas and Volkswagens, two of the best brands that you can get bang for your buck. Camrys, 4Runners on the Toyota side of things, Tundras. My fiance's parents actually got a Toyota Tundra from Crown Automotive, and I absolutely love that truck. Every time they pull in, I'm like, man, I'm gonna get in their nice new truck. It's it's a nice one, man. So great trucks, obviously on the Toyota side, and then Volkswagens, Tiguan's, Tauses. You talk about the those VW electric buses that I think are really cool. So if those aren't your jam, they've used cars as well. So check out Crown Automotive over in my neck of the woods, South Iowa Street. CrownAutomotives.com, CrownMotorsVW.com.
So Iowa State last night gets down 63-53, and they come back and win 70-67 against Houston. Iowa State 23-3, Houston 23-3. Houston is 11-2 in the Big 12. They are tied now with Arizona with that 11-2 record atop the conference. So Arizona just had 2 days where they were not atop the Big 12. Iowa State, what a 3-day stretch they had, defeating Kansas, defeating Houston at home. That's how they drew it up to put themselves back in the Big 12 race. Dan, this was looking bleak, and honestly, KU fans, Texas Tech fans, Arizona fans, and obviously Iowa State fans are cheering for the Cyclones to win this game because Houston had only one loss to their name. They now have losses to Iowa State and Texas Tech to the Cougars, but otherwise, as we talked about, just a really, really good team, tough to beat them. We looked at this from a Houston schedule standpoint of, okay, before last night, Houston had 3 top 10 games. They're at Iowa State, Arizona at home, and at Kansas. And then they got 3 games they're going to win after that. So this 3-game stretch for Houston was important for Houston and important for the opponents of Houston, those chasing Houston, for Houston to lose to give themselves a chance. Specifically for Kansas, who has 3 losses along with Iowa State and Texas Tech, this absolutely had to happen because KU, as I said, controls their own destiny now. And should they win the rest of their games and go 15-3, they'll get at least a share of the Big 12 title, which was nice to see, especially because after the Iowa State game, there was maybe some concern that Kansas would be completely out of it. Well, it just took 2 days, and Kansas is right back where they were.
Right.
And you got to get some wins. The 8-game win streak for Kansas was snapped, but this had to happen because if Houston's 12-1 right now, that's looking like a far cry for Kansas and the other teams. And Iowa State, despite not hitting clutch free throws, they got enough stops. They had a clutch 3 from Bateman, a clutch 3 from Nate Heisey in the corner as well.
Oh my gosh!
And then they forced the turnover as well on Kingston Flemings, who's a really good player. And then Buchanan at 69-67 misses the front of a 1-1, and Taman Lipsey, for his faults, not a very good 3-point shooter, not a very good free throw shooter. He's a really good player for a reason. One of the smallest dudes on the court, gets the offensive rebound, gets it to Joshua Jefferson, who, again, misses a free throw, but he goes 1 for 2. Houston, no timeouts. They had a 90-footer from Flemings that missed that would have tied the game. Obviously, would have been completely miraculous. But Iowa State wins, and now things are a little bit closer here in the Big 12.
Yeah. By the way, shout out to Taman Lipsey for getting that rebound. He's listed as 6'1".
Yeah, he's a small dude.
He's not. He's like 5'10", maybe.
Tough.
Also from Ames, Iowa. I mean, that's a cool.
He plays like a Bill Self point guard.
He does. Oh, that's
except
a
that
good
he can't shoot threes or shoot free throws.
Also true.
but he plays tough.
He reminds you a little bit, and not fully. He reminds you a little bit of Melvin Council, if you're including the shooting as well. I would say, just both of them are not great shooters, but good point guards, and I think good ball handlers. In a sense. But that game was awesome. Iowa State was down by 10 plus at halftime. I mean, it was looking relatively bleak for Iowa State.
So Iowa State was up 3 at half, but they were down 63-53.
Or I'm sorry.
Yes,
Yeah, you're
late
right.
in the game.
Yeah,
They
so
couldn't score at all.
It was late in the game. It wasn't at halftime. Sorry.
Right.
You're right. It wasn't at halftime. It was late in the game. They were down by 10. And then just able to pull it back out. And Milan Momcilovic is just so freaking good, man. 2 for 5 from the 3-point line. He only had 8 points in this game, but Momcilovic hit a couple of big-time threes. Heisey, like you said, he came off the bench. He had 11 points, 3 for 3 from the 3-point line, including a clutch 3 there towards the end. I want to talk about Kingston Fleming, because Kingston Fleming's in a world where college basketball is run by an elite class of freshmen, Kingston Fleming's, I think, stands out above the rest just in terms of the poise that he has. I don't think he's a better player than Darren Peterson. He doesn't have the skill set that Cam Boozer has. He doesn't have the length and athleticism that AJ DeBonsa has. But the kid's putting up 23 a night. I think he's the leading scorer amongst all freshmen in at least Power 4 basketball. He put up 22 yesterday, 9 for 15 from the field, and they trusted him with the ball in his hands. When you have guys like Milos Uzan, Emmanuel Sharp, you got Chris Sinak, JoJo Tugler. I mean, there's a laundry list of guys on this Houston team where you feel comfortable with the ball in their hands whenever they're down by 2, that you're going to give them a chance. And they gave it to Kingston Flemings, and Kingston Flemings made it happen. And granted, I thought it was a foul there towards the end whenever he slipped and he still got the pass off, which I thought was incredible. Passed it over to Sinak. Sinak tried to throw up a hook shot and wound up missing it, and then they had to foul. That sent Buchanan to the line. Buchanan missed the back end, and then Tamin Lipsey got the rebound, and then they had to foul once again. It was like 1.7 or 1.9 seconds or whatever it was. But Kingston Flemings, to me, again, just in terms of scoring, in terms of the ball running through him on such an elite team, it has been so impressive year in and year out.
Emmanuel Sharp hits 4 threes, and he's going to continue to be a top-tier player. Tugler, he was the Big 12 Defensive Player of the Year last year, and Chris Sinak,
he got a big block freshman at the end, too.
So Houston, they don't hit the portal particularly hard, but they are paying for these 5-star freshmen like Flemings and Sinak. Iowa State, though, the story is they're back in it. Kansas is back in it as well. We take a look at the upcoming schedule, and I talked about this a little bit, but Houston, they've got Arizona at home. If you haven't seen the Saturday college basketball schedule, it's ridiculous. It's number 2 Houston and number 4 Arizona.
Number 1, number 3, right?
Number 1 Michigan, number 3 Duke play each other on Saturday. The Houston game's at 2, the Duke game's at 5:30. So enjoy that after the KU Cincinnati game on Saturday. But Houston, like I said, they've got Arizona at home. I expect Houston to win that game. Still don't know the update on Koa Pete. He's been dealing with a lower leg issue, Tommy Lloyd said, and that's a factor for Arizona, who has been, for the most part, healthy and good all season. And then Houston is at Kansas, Big Monday, shaping up to look like Kansas absolutely needs that to win the Big 12. There's no doubt about that. KU's got to take care of business tomorrow, that I talk about over and over again, this Oklahoma State game. But Houston closes with Colorado, Baylor. Those games are at home, and then out at Oklahoma State, which I expect Houston to win as well. So kind of a situation where, okay, now they lost one. That needed to happen. If they beat Arizona, I guess that's still okay mathematically, because then Kansas could beat them at home, and that would be a game that you need even more.
True.
So you're looking at 15-3, in my opinion, for Houston if Kansas is able to get it done. And you have to operate under this. If we're trying to get Kansas to win the Big 12, you have to operate under the assumption that Kansas will win the next 6 games, because that has to happen in all reality. Arizona, they're home against BYU. BYU shorthanded. I expect Arizona to get right. I've got them losing to Houston. And then they're at Baylor. Not a layup, but that's probably a win. They get KU at home. Iowa State also at home, and then at Colorado. So Arizona still has 3 games against top 10 teams.
It's a tough 5-game stretch for them.
It is. And if you assume that Arizona loses to Houston and loses to Kansas, which, again, we're assuming Kansas is going to win the rest of their games, then you get 4 losses on Arizona. So there's your path for KU. In terms of Texas Tech, who Kansas also has the tiebreaker over, Tech's got Arizona State, K-State, Cincinnati. Those are the next 3 games. You're at Iowa State. I know that you think the Red Raiders might win this one, because you also had Iowa State losing last night.
Yeah.
So we'll see how that goes. But I think on paper you have to say Iowa State probably wins that game, because they'll be favored at home. And then you're
also,
TCU
real
at
quick,
BYU. So Tech would have at least 4 losses there.
Those whistles last night, I mean, people like to talk. People like to complain about how Allen Fieldhouse and KU gets all the whistles at home.
Yeah, there were some.
Hilton.
There were some.
I mean, my goodness.
They don't want to hear all the boos, man. The boo birds are coming out no matter what.
it.
And then Texas Tech, like I said, if they lose at Iowa State or at BYU, there's their fourth loss. And then for Iowa State, the other team in the running, the other team with 3 losses, they've only got 5 games left now. They're at BYU on Saturday. So now you're transitioning from being a Cyclones fan last night to a BYU fan
Cougars.
against Iowa State
Go Cougs.
on Saturday. Then Iowa State's got at Utah,
Easy.
Tech and Ames, and at Arizona. So again, you assume Iowa State loses one of those games, either at BYU or at Arizona. There's their 4th loss. Again, kind of a different way of looking at it than we looked at it yesterday, because we looked at it as, okay, what's realistic? Well, this is, if Kansas wins the next 6, then there's your Big 12 championship right there.
Right.
Again, that would include sharing it with Houston if Houston only loses to Kansas the rest of the way. But that being said, it's still a possibility, and a possibility that otherwise would not have happened had Iowa State not won last night.
Right. And, just kind of rolling through that top 5, like kind of what we were talking about, right? Looking at Arizona's schedule, again, you're hoping BYU winds up winning on, that's tomorrow, actually, when Arizona plays BYU. Then they're at Houston. That's not going to be a cakewalk whatsoever. So I'm going to keep an eye on Arizona for right now and see if they drop one before Kansas comes to town, because I think that's going to be really important. Now, granted, Arizona coming off of a loss and then also having Kansas come into town after Kansas winds up beating them in Allen Fieldhouse is not an ideal situation, because it's going to be, it just reminds me too much of what happened at Iowa State over this past weekend, where it's like, oh, hey, remember when you were undefeated and Kansas, beat you in Allen Fieldhouse, and now they're going to go to your place and now you're pissed off? That to me feels like a trap. Also, again, Kansas needs to win that game in order to remain in it, right? So I guess, yeah, to your point, Kansas does kind of control its own destiny, but if Arizona and Houston can drop one that's not Kansas, Kansas is right there.
Yeah. Kansas, I think, it's not a guarantee. We know that, but I'm looking at Houston because they've got 2 more games now. Realistically, could they lose the season finale at Oklahoma State? Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe, but I'm saying no. They got 2 more games, Arizona and at Kansas. They could lose both of those.
Yeah.
Obviously, they could. And they could go on a 3-game losing streak, which is unheard of for Kelvin Sampson, but it absolutely could happen. I don't know what to cheer for other than for KU to keep winning, and we know we've got 2.5 weeks of basketball still to go. But Houston is a team that I don't see them losing to Arizona at home. And that being said, you need Kansas to run the table the rest of the way. And should that not happen, if Kansas were to drop one, then obviously we'd look at this in a little different light. But right now, Big 12 championship still on the table. We're going to look at it through those lenses. Hey, after this, we are talking Chiefs football before we're joined a little bit later in the show from Kevin Flaherty from the Kansas City Sports Network. Dan will update you on what's going on with the Chiefs, and perhaps we take a look at a few mock drafts as well. That's coming up next. KansasNation.com, ESPN, Kansas City.
What's up, everybody? Dan Peterson. Everybody go check out KansasNation.com.
Listen up, guys. Summer is coming, and there's no better time than right now to ignite your health and feel your best. Whether you're chasing peak performance, trying to reignite intimacy, or simply want to feel your best, Game Day Men's Health Lawrence is your calling. Situated in a plush man cave setting, their services for testosterone replacement therapy, ED, vitamin therapy, and weight loss are sure to give you the boost you need. Make an online appointment today by searching for Game Day Men's Health Lawrence. Step up your game in 2026 with Game Day.
Go all electric in a 2026 BZ for 0% APR. Built to move you, designed to electrify. Low APRs for 2026 Camry and Tundra models.
Together, we're elevating our potential, our pride, our traditions, and our dreams. Together, we're opening up a whole new world of possibilities. Elevate your University of Kansas experience with Jayhawk checking from Central Bank. Central Bank and KU, elevating together.
This is SSJ. Winter in Kansas City doesn't mean your lawn takes a break. It means smart homeowners get a head start. Let David and his crew from Custom Lawn and Landscape prepare your yard for a greener, healthier spring with winter fertilization, soil conditioning, and pre-emergent treatments that stop weeds before they start. Because when the snow melts, you don't want to start fixing your lawn. You want to already be winning. Trust Custom Lawn and Landscape, treating your yard now so it looks incredible later. Visit CustomLawn.com to schedule your winter services today.
Sports Radio 810 WHB, the radio home of the Indianapolis 500, the NBA Finals, the World Cup, the U.S. Open, Major League Baseball, the All-Star Game and the World Series, BCS Bowl games, the National Football League, the NCAA Tournament, Sunday and Monday Night Football, Sunday Night Baseball, the Super Bowl. People get their sports from Sports Radio 810 WHB.
Well, there's a certain energy that comes with Jayhawk basketball. The crowd rising together, the band playing, and that unmistakable moment when fans lift their arms and wave that wheat. It's a tradition that represents pride, unity, and Jayhawk spirit. With Jayhawk checking from Central Bank, that tradition doesn't stop when the game ends. Jayhawk fans can carry their pride wherever they go with the official Jayhawk debit card, a simple way to show school spirit every day. Central Bank is proud to support the traditions and communities that bring people together. And as the proud community banking partner of the University of Kansas, Central Bank is committed to serving Jayhawk fans with banking options designed for real life, on campus, at work, and everywhere in between. So if you're ready to wave the wheat beyond the stands, learn more about Jayhawk Checking and the exclusive debit card at jayhawkchecking.com. That's jayhawkchecking.com. Central Bank, the proud community banking partner of the University of Kansas, member FDIC. Dan, we have not talked a lot of Chiefs in recent weeks.
No, nothing.
Didn't get a chance to talk Super Bowl at all because they weren't in it, which is a real bummer after 3 straight years of being in the Super Bowl. But a lot of movement from a coaching standpoint, and draft will be here before we know it.
Yeah, a lot of movement in the coaching staff, I would say. Obviously, you got the NFL Combine coming up, so we'll be able to look at some of these guys that names are being thrown around in the NFL draft. But a couple of big-time gets, I would say, for the Kansas City Chiefs in this offseason, just in terms of the coaching staff. So the first one I kind of wanted to highlight was DeMarco Murray. DeMarco Murray, if you remember, an excellent running back for the Dallas Cowboys for a few years. I believe he played 7 years in the NFL and had an incredible year. Either his first or second year. He was really good early, and kind of maintained that throughout his entire career. He was the running backs coach at Oklahoma, which is his alma mater, from 2020 to 2025. Now, again, when the Chiefs, their old running backs coach played wide receiver. Not that it's impossible to coach that. And again, when you get to the highest level of the, when you get to the NFL, you typically know what you're doing as a running back, but at the same time, you still need a guy who understands everything that's going to be happening in that running back room. How running backs, the style of play, different things like that. And the old running backs coach just didn't get the job done. I mean, that was the biggest point of emphasis, I think, for the Kansas City Chiefs last year was, hey, what the hell's going on with our running game, right? You had Isaiah Pacheco getting absolutely nothing going. You had Kareem Hunt, who was, 3 yards in a cloud of dust, but he's also getting a little bit older. And just the run game in general, and I would say even the run game coordination in general, which is just not good. So when you bring in a guy like DeMarco Murray, who has the experience at the highest level to be able to bring that into that running back room, and then also hopefully, and we'll kind of get to this, but hopefully bring in another running back in this NFL draft that can be an impact guy. I think this is a big time get. Now, I understand OU fans, they hate DeMarco Murray because of what he did to the running backs. And I have some stats for you. So 2020, they had 160 rushing yards per game. 2021, 187 rushing yards per game. 2022, 219.4 rushing yards per game. That was 10th in the nation. That was his best season by far. And then you start to see a steep drop off. So 2023, 182.2 rushing yards per game. That's 34th in the nation. 2024, 155.2 rushing yards per game, 66th in the nation. And then last year, a staggering 118.6 rushing yards per game. That was 120th in the nation. Not great to see both the rise and then steep decline. Now, you had a couple of prolific running backs at OU, and I mentioned Ramondre Stevenson, who was at OU at the time when DeMarco Murray was there. He was able to develop him and turn him into the back that he is now for the New England Patriots. Also, there are some, coaching changes, if you will, where Venables comes in and they have a new offensive coordinator, and, they have different style of quarterbacks, I would say. You had John Mateer, who, can do it on his legs, but is more of a through the air kind of guy. So you were relying more heavily on the passing game. So I totally understand that. But the drop off isn't great. But I think that his skill set and his experience in the NFL is really going to be able to translate over. And I obviously, having a former NFL running back as your running backs coach, as opposed to a former college wide receiver as your running backs coach, is going to be a drastic improvement as well.
The Chiefs have had running back problems. Yeah. I mean, Isaiah Pacheco, I felt like, was on such a great ascent and then got injured and just hasn't been back. And you've mentioned Hunt many times. He's 31 years old, and he's not somebody who's got breakaway speed.
He's not a spring chicken.
There's a lot of chatter, I think, growing belief maybe that the Chiefs will get Jeremiah Love with the 9th overall pick in the NFL draft. Of course, the tailback from Notre Dame. It would be really nice to have a guy like that, because as we've discussed over and over again, I know you've got more coaches to get to. Patrick Mahomes, the past couple seasons, he's been asked to do so much, and he has done so much. He's gotten the Chiefs to the Super Bowl pretty much shorthanded, when the Chiefs have been toward the bottom of the NFL in running game. They've been toward the bottom of the NFL in terms of most drop passes. They issues with penalties up front, issues with the offensive line in general. Mahomes is Superman, and he's proven that time and time again. But hopefully this 6-11 season kind of got the front office to say, okay, we actually have to do some things to help Mahomes rather than just having him out there on an island.
Yeah, 100%, right? And, obviously bringing back Eric Bieniemy, I think, is going to be a big-time step in the right direction as well. He's going to have a big-time say in the run game coordination because he played running back, and we've seen what Eric Bieniemy is able to do as an offensive coordinator. It's been a weird ride for EB, man. He, was the OC for the Chiefs, and then all of a sudden he was in talks for head coaching positions, and then just weirdly he took a lateral, if not backwards, move by taking the OC job for the Commanders, and then bounces around a little bit in the NFL. All of a sudden finds himself at UCLA as their offensive coordinator, gets fired, and then gets hired as the running backs coach for the Chicago Bears. But if you look at the Chicago Bears this year, their running game was really good. So obviously Eric Bieniemy had some kind of say in that. So I think melding the two brains together of DeMarco Murray and Eric Bieniemy is going to be a big time thing. Also, you talked about dropped passes, and the wide receiver room for the Chiefs has not been great either. The Chiefs also hired another wide receivers coach, Chad O'Shea. He was the wide receiver coach and pass game coordinator for the Cleveland Browns from 2020 until 2025. And when you look at the Cleveland Browns, I don't think it's fair to judge the Cleveland Browns based off of their wide receiver play because their quarterback room has been such a dumpster fire. Now, granted, they had a Pro Bowl quarterback this year in Shedeur Sanders.
It's true.
But it's been an absolute dumpster fire. You know this. Everybody knows this. Ever since 2020. But he was the offensive coordinator for the Miami Dolphins back in 2019, and they were relatively good back then. So that's something to be said there. Also, the Patriots wide receiver coach from 2009 until 2018. Talk about a guy who's worked with, Wes Welker, with, Julian Edelman, with just a number of different, stellar wide receivers for the Patriots during that stretch of, Super Bowls, essentially. So I think that's a great pickup, obviously. And again, do not judge him based off of what happened with the Cleveland Browns, because the Cleveland Browns quarterback room has been so terrible. But then again, you look at some of the wide receivers and you go, well, they didn't have terrible wide receivers, right? They had some good wide receivers in their time when he was there from 2020 to 2025. In the past game, it could have been a lot worse, I'll say. So I think that's a big-time get for the Chiefs. Also, another guy I wanted to highlight, Terry Braden Jr. He's an assistant D-line coach. He was actually the assistant D-line coach from 2021 to 2024 for the Kansas City Chiefs. He's back in his old position. In 2024, after 2024, he left to go take a job as a D-line coach at Nebraska. Nebraska had an okay defensive line, but he wound up getting fired last year, and now he's back in his old position with the Kansas City Chiefs. But if you look at the Kansas City Chiefs and their defensive line from 2021 to 2024, that's a pretty good damn defensive line, right? Especially when you think about Spags and what he brought to the table, and you have that guy back, and here's the thing. Everybody knows the Kansas City Chiefs love reunions, right? They absolutely love reunions. They're bringing back Bieniemy. They're bringing back, Terry Braden Jr. They love bringing back guys, right? Kareem Hunt, Mike Dana. I mean, the list goes on of people, and I don't know if it's just they want to hang on to the dynasty of the past and think, well, these guys were on the team back when we were winning Super Bowls, so let's bring it back now. I think this is a good pick. Even though he got fired from Nebraska, you look at the defensive line, you look at what they were able to do. Yes, you had a younger Chris Jones. You also had Dee Ford. You also had Frank Clark, right? You had a number of different guys on the defensive line who were really, really good. You still have guys like Charles Menahue, right? You still have guys like George Karlaftis. You still have a number of different guys on the defensive line who I think are really good, and it's just going to kind of give them an extra bump and kind of bring back that dynasty winning mentality.
The Chiefs, like I said, are connected with Jeremiah Love for many mock drafts. Other guy I've been seeing is Mekhi Lemon, a wide receiver from USC. Pro Football Focus says this: after making some improvements to their offensive line over the past couple of drafts, the Chiefs now have a top 10 pick to try to give Patrick Mahomes his best wide receiver since Tyreek Hill. Lemon averaged 3.13 yards per route run and dropped just 2.5% of the catchable targets thrown his way this past season. I've seen Lemon on a couple different mock drafts for the Chiefs at pick 9. Of course, Rashee Rice, he's been in the news. We know that he's a great talent on the field. Really curious to see what the rest of his career looks like, because he's a guy that is a game changer.
He's got one more year on his contract. You let him go.
Okay.
I think you let him go afterwards.
We'll see what happens this upcoming season. Some questions to be answered. Will Travis Kelce be back? We'll have to see, but that's the update for the offseason for the Kansas City Chiefs. Hey, after this, we are going to do a Top 10 Tuesday. Top 10 3 words that women absolutely love to hear, courtesy of Dan Courtwright. After our Top 10, we'll be joined on ESPN Kansas City by Kevin Flaherty, and then we're going to hear from Bill Self a little bit later in the show. That's all coming up. KansasNation.com.
Miles Schneer's Crown Automotive, founding partner of Kansas Nation. Visit them at crownautomotive.com. Experience the Crown difference. Carfax top-rated dealer, Crown Automotive.
Hi there, Gary Joslin with Joslin's Jewelry. I'm not the class ring company. I'm a mom and pop jewelry store for 42 years. We were recently voted the gold medal #1 jewelry store in the greater Kansas City area by Ingram's Magazine. Come see us at Joslin's Jewelry, 9529 Antioch. Joslin's Jewelry, the jeweler you'll recommend to your friends and family.
Joslin's Jewelry, for the best that's yet to come.
This is SSJ. Winter in Kansas City doesn't mean your lawn takes a break. It means smart homeowners get a head start. Let David and his crew from Custom Lawn and Landscape prepare your yard for a greener, healthier spring with winter fertilization, soil conditioning, and pre-emergent treatments that stop weeds before they start. Because when the snow melts, you don't want to start fixing your lawn. You want to already be winning. Trust Custom Lawn and Landscape, treating your yard now so it looks incredible later. Visit CustomLawn.com to schedule your winter services today.
Performance, style, and technology. Check all your boxes in a 2026 Atlas, now 3.9% APR, or get 3.9% APR on a 2026 Jetta, the compact sedan that redefines the standard.
Haney and the Hawks is presented by Jefferson's with 2 Lawrence locations, home of the best wings in town, 21 signature sauces. You got to check them out. But if wings aren't your thing, how about a burger? They hand patty their certified Angus beef every single day. Also, hand bread their tenders. They make their ranch in-house. There is truly something for everybody at Jefferson's. Go see my buddy Brandon Graham and the entire crew at Jefferson's, either on Mass or Wakarusa in Lawrence, Kansas.
Hello, it's Mark Whitlow from Office Products Alliance. OPA is not just your local office products connection. We have expanded our offerings to network cabling installation, security cameras, door access, and IT services. We all need to keep pace with new technologies. You can trust a Kansas City company that has been your partner for 32 years. Check us out at opakc.com. Supporting local businesses and our community is more important than ever.
Are you a KU nut? Well, check out kansasnation.com for all your KU coverage. In fact, we've got a new Jayhawker episode coming up. Nate Bukaty sitting down with KU Associate Head Coach Jeremy Case. Jeremy Case talking about his playing days, as well as, of course, bouncing around the coaching ranks as well. Promotion to Associate Head Coach, which happened this past offseason, and insights into this year's Jayhawks heading into March. That's part of the Jayhawker podcast with Nate Bukaty, a part of the Kansas Nation Podcast Network. We've got Between Two Fountains. There are 2 guys. There are 2 fountains there between them. Mick Schaefer and Greg Gurley. Also, we have Haney and the Hawks. We have the Timeout with Tyshawn Taylor podcast and Inside KU with Laney Boger, all a part of the Kansas Nation Podcast Network, in addition to Rock Chalk Sports.
And if you're a KU nut, follow us on all of our social media platforms as well. Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, at the Kansas Nation. Kansas Nation on Facebook and Kansas Nation on YouTube as well. All of our shows, all of our content goes up on YouTube, so be sure to check those out. Also, everywhere you get your podcasts, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, SoundCloud. What are some other ones? Deezer. There it is.
Deezer.
That just lit something. Remember Deezer, the graphic.
He's still around.
Is he still around?
Yeah.
Shout out Deezer, man. Oh man, you just awoke something in my brain. I totally forgot about Deezer.
How about that?
He's still putting out content?
I will be darned. I'll have to check that out. I got distracted right now. I went to Twitter, and Sports Radio 810 WHB said that KC 2026 confirmed days and details for the FIFA Fan Festival, Kansas City.
Nice.
A free celebration at the heart of the FIFA World Cup 2026. I'm not going to read all of this, but check out Sports Radio 810 WHB on your socials or online. And there's all sorts of dates, all sorts of activities going on. Exciting stuff with the World Cup coming to town, Daniel.
That's exciting.
Let's
That's going to give us some stuff to talk about this summer, too.
10,
I'm going to become a real big soccer
Just
guy.
like we talked about the Olympics.
Annoying. I'm going to be drinking Guinness and wearing scarves. It's going to be awesome. I can't wait.
Love it.
Top 10. It's a very special Top 10 Tuesday. Sean, thank you for mentioning that. I know this is your favorite segment, isn't it?
Yes, it is. But a Valentine's theme, a little bit late to the party. But
Valentine's theme, yes, a little bit late to the party. But today I'm doing my top 10 3 words that women love to hear. Starting off with number 10. Number 10 on my top 10 3 words that women love to hear. Let's watch Bridgerton. Or insert your favorite show.
Gilmore Girls.
Their favorite.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's 2 words. So it has to be like
true.
Like if you're like Lost, isn't it? Yeah.
Shout out to Piper.
Whatever her favorite show is, because she'll bounce around. She likes Outlander, which is like, Scottish medieval smut. She also likes Bridgerton, which is British Victorian era smut. A lot of smut.
It sounds like there's a lot of smut.
But usually I have to find a day, like Mondays are sometimes good, even though we wound up watching the Iowa State-Houston game. But we did watch a little bit of her show that she's been into a little bit. It's kind of a comfort show, How I Met Your Mother. That was a big one. But whatever show that your significant other's into, just find a day where there's no sports going on, like a Wednesday or a Thursday. Usually it's Wednesday. KU plays on the Wednesday, but usually Wednesdays are always good to be like, hey, let's Today's your day. Let's watch your show.
Yeah, Thursdays is obviously Johnny's Tavern, West Lawrence. It's a great place to be.
Thursdays, yes.
Not that I don't listen to everything you're saying, but I happened to be on KenPom while you were talking about that. I was just updating the defensive ratings, and I had a little bit of a jump scare. So I tried to look at defensive efficiency ratings. I was just I wonder if Kansas is still in the top 10. And they are. They're at number 9.
Oh, okay.
Jump scare, though. Number 10. Cincinnati.
Ew, I don't like that.
Cincinnati is number 10 on KenPom
What's their
defensive
offensive
efficiency.
rating?
Oh, man, I don't even know.
Like 117.
Let's see. Well, overall on KenPom, let's see this. And I hate distracting you from your top 10.
Cincinnati was able to put up numbers.
51 overall KenPom Cincinnati. But that's a little scary. They come to town on Saturday, but yeah, they're not in the top. I'm going to keep scrolling. I still don't see them.
Wow.
I must have missed them, but yeah, they're, I don't know, 70s, 80s maybe?
You control F and find.
Yeah, but I did.
Okay.
I did that. But you know how KenPom works is it doesn't.
Oh yeah.
80. That's a fair question. I know Cincinnati. Dude, they're like way down there. Like I was giving them way too much credit. They're like in the over 150 offensive, but top 10 defensive efficiency. Shout out to Wes Miller. Anyway, I digress.
So that game is going to be like 40-30.
We'll see.
That's going to be exciting. Can't wait.
Number 9.
Top 10. Number 9 on my top 10. 3 words that women love to hear. You were right.
How is that only number 9? That would be number 1 for me.
Yeah, I mean,
that would be number 1.
Yeah, that's fair. I say it a lot though. And you know, maybe it's because I avoid confrontation a lot. I just never really want to argue. So I go, yeah, you're right. Yeah, you're absolutely right. You know what? You're right. You say that a lot?
She loves it. I don't, and maybe that's why it would be higher on my list. I need to say it more often.
Because whenever you do say it, or
it's more of a victory.
This one, I don't have this one on here, but I was wrong.
That's a good one too.
Do you ever admit that you were wrong? You never admit you were wrong.
My wife and I both struggle with that.
Yeah,
my wife and I never tell each other you were right. We need to do that more often.
That's a beautiful thing. Yeah, but that's a beautiful thing about being a sports talk radio host is I don't know if I've ever said that like on this show. Like I was wrong.
Yeah.
Because I usually stand by all of my takes. Like if I'm just like, oh, hey, this team is going to win and then they lose, I'll be like, all right, well, I read that one wrong.
Right.
That's fine.
Totally.
But, that's a thing that you kind of have to learn as a sports talk radio guy is to be like, no, you're never wrong.
For sure.
You just got screwed. You know what I mean?
Right.
Number 8 on my top 10, 3 words that women love to hear. I did laundry.
That's a good one.
Who does laundry in your house?
Yeah. So Caitlin has been home recently for maternity leave, so she's been doing it a lot more. But yeah, she's been nailing it the past couple months.
Question for you. Did you keep all of your first daughter's clothes and you're letting Claire wear them now?
Yes.
Hand-me-downs.
So that was
huge.
A clutch.
That's
girl
nice.
number 2.
I about to say, yeah, I bet you
sure.
were like in terms of like wardrobe, you were like, yes, another girl. Like I can just use all these other clothes that we used 2 years ago.
Right.
That's nice. That's huge. I'm the one who does the laundry in the house, and that's a relatively new thing. We sort of delegated. She goes, hey, she'll do all the dishes and I'll do all the laundry. But oftentimes I forget and she has to tell me.
Yes.
And so she doesn't like telling me.
That's fair.
And so that's why I'm
right.
Like, all right. So now if I get ahead of it and I go, hey, I did laundry, then she'll be happy.
Okay. Yeah. No, that's good forward thinking by you.
It is.
And you're going to be a husband soon, so that's good stuff.
That's right. Number 7 on my top 10, 3 words that women love to hear. I got snacks.
Okay.
What?
It's
you
good.
Like that one?
Yeah. No, that's good. Is
your
Piper a big snacker?
She is. She
seems like a popcorn popper.
Yeah. I talked to Elijah about this. He brought Tim Tams. You know what Tim Tams are?
I dabbled with them yesterday.
So
shout out to Elijah.
They're like little chocolate biscuit cookies.
Is that how you're supposed to eat them? The way that we ate them?
Yeah. So you bite off opposite corners and then it's like
use it as a straw.
Tim Tam Slam. Good word. And then you're supposed to put it in your coffee and suck on it like a straw, and then all the coffee gets in it and it softens it up and it just melts in your mouth. It's fantastic. I said I was going to bring it in today and drink my coffee with it, and I ate them all yesterday.
Yeah. How many were there?
Piper had a few. 11.
Okay, so you had
don't
about
tell me
9.
that. Do not tell me that.
Yeah, that's all right.
Piper had 2 though.
There's protein in there.
But it's changed because she's on this diet now where she's only eating like ground beef and sweet potatoes and cottage cheese all mixed into a bowl. So whenever I do bring, so this is actually changed where it used to be a big thing where she'd be like, yes, awesome. Glad you brought snacks. Now I'll bring home snacks. And she'll go, why did you bring home snacks? You know I'm going to eat them.
Right. Yeah.
And so now it's that's why it's only at number 7. It would have been at like number 4 probably 3 months ago.
I'm craving candy, but it's like I can't have it in my house, because it's tricky. It's tricky because
I mean, if you want snacks, you got to go actively get the snacks. And then when I do that, I get yelled at, and then she would eat the snacks.
Right.
And then she's like, it's your fault that you're making me get off my diet. I'm like, you don't have to eat my stuff.
Yeah.
Whatever. Number 6. This is a big one for me. I did dishes.
Yeah.
Because she's the one who does dishes.
That's
so
right.
whenever she's gone, I'll do the dishes, and then she'll come home and she'll be like, nice.
A couple chore related
Shout out.
ones. That's good.
Yeah, a couple of chore related ones. I like to do stuff around the house, get a little tidy. But oftentimes I will forget. Like she'll even tell me like in the morning. She'll be like, hey, I got to go somewhere. She's like, do the dishes or do the laundry. And then, when I come home, it better be done. I go, of course. And then I don't do it. And then I get yelled at. So
yeah,
when I do it, that becomes a big thing. And she loves that.
Yes.
She absolutely loves that. Number, what am I at? 5?
5?
Ooh, this is a good one. Number 5 on my top 10 3 words that women love to hear. Let's get pedicures.
Really?
Oof,
See, I've never had a pedicure, and I know that you're yes. You've talked about this before. You're
Don't
a
get me
huge
started.
fan.
Do not get me started. Dude, pedicures are, I don't know. It's up there with like puppies and rainbows and
I know,
national
butterflies. Yeah, I know.
championships.
Yeah. Puppies and rainbows
it's
and
up there.
pedicures, man. Your big 3.
National championships are up there too.
Yeah.
And I think pedicures might be above it. Pedicures are so great. Why haven't you gotten a pedicure yet?
I don't. It's just not
Do you have something
something that's
against them?
ever happened.
Do you have something against them?
I don't. It's just never been a scenario that I've found myself in.
When's your birthday? It's coming up, right?
It is. Coming up a little bit later.
I'll get you a gift card for a pedicure.
How about a gift card to Jefferson's?
No.
Downtown Lawrence.
Gift card to
some
for
buffalo
pedicure.
wings.
No. I'll get you a pedicure. You'll love it because she loves getting pedicures, and then I also love getting pedicures. And it's a nice, relaxing day. And you get to sit in a massage chair, and they always have like family
I'm sure
feud on.
I'm sure it's nice and cozy.
Great. I actually do have a weird story. I know I short on time, but the first time I ever got a pedicure, I went with 3 of my buddies, and the 2 buddies went first, and they just got a little file and little clippers or whatever, the first one, and then for the second one, same thing. And then they got to me, and she goes, whoa, and she goes back, and she comes back with like a power tool, and she's like, like a welding mask.
Yeah, no, that
most
scares me.
Heartbreaking thing. I was like, okay,
Yeah, that scares me.
Feels mean.
That's not fluffy and cozy.
Number 4 on my top 10 3 words women love to hear: Herrera, Davis, and Holland.
Yes, HDH.
I knew you'd like that one.
Yeah, I posted something on Facebook and it like blew up back in the 15. That was 14 when Holland was not injured, and I was all up on Facebook because I was a huge Royals fan and all that. And my mom, I was living at home because it was like the year after college.
Sure.
So I was living at home for a year before I moved back to Lawrence, and my mom's a big cross stitcher. So she cross stitches and knits occasionally and all that. But she just sits there, and we would always have the Royals game on. My dad and I would always watch the Royals game. My mom would just sit there and cross stitch, and she would not really say much throughout. But sometime toward the end of the season, when mom just sat there the whole time, and we just are there, and dad and I are talking or whatever, I said, Mom, can you name like the 5 starting pitchers? and she could name all 5 of the starting pitchers and the 3 HDH situations. And I was like, wow. So I posted that on Facebook, and I was like, and we just think she sits there and cross stitches.
Right. That's
and
awesome.
it just like blew up because
the
she's
5?
paying attention.
I'm trying to think. Hochevar
It would have been
probably right.
Hochevar was in the bullpen. He was actually the 6th man,
right,
but I'm pretty sure Edinson Volquez was on that team.
Yeah.
We had Giordano Ventura
of
was on
course.
that team. Danny Duffy.
Oh, God, Danny Duffy.
Yeah, Danny
Shout
Duffy,
out.
right? Name from the past, right? God.
Man.
Yeah,
Oh,
I don't know. I'll look that up. 2014, Jason Vargas,
Sure.
I think, was on that team. Vargas was definitely on the 15 team.
Yeah. Guthrie.
Jeremy Guthrie.
Jeremy Guthrie. Yeah. He threw like a 79-mile-an-hour fastball.
But yeah, it was all
So
about.
slow.
And then obviously big game James Shields.
Of course, right. Man, that's awesome. Shout out to your mom. Shout out to
yeah,
Kathleen.
I know.
Number 3 on my top 10 3 words women love to hear. Let me pay.
Let me pay.
Let me pay.
Yes.
I got it. Now it's different for you because you guys share a bank account.
Correct.
So
Not
it
as,
doesn't really work with you because you're like, let me pay. She's like, well, we're both paying.
Right. It's my money. Yeah.
It's both of our money. But Piper and I have separate bank accounts, so it's always hey, let me let me get this.
Right.
It's like at a gas station, I'm getting her like a slice of Casey's pizza.
Still,
I'm like, hey,
it's
it's
nice.
on me. It's
a
on
nice
me.
move.
Don't worry.
Yeah.
Number 2 on my top 10 3 words that women love to hear. I love you.
Wow. I'm surprised that made the list.
It's number 2.
Good.
Yeah.
Top 2 and it ain't number 1.
No, there's a good one. I mean, it's fine. It's good.
Yeah.
I think it's one of the best
love
things you
hearing
can
it.
say to a woman.
But it's not number 1.
I'll tell you what number 1 is.
Okay.
Drum roll. Number 1 on my top 10 3 words women love to hear. Frank Mason highlights.
I knew you were going to say that. I called that yesterday,
You did.
man.
You did
Rock
say
Chalk
that.
Jayhawk I thought would be on there, but that's a snub.
Oh,
but
Rock Chalk Jayhawk's been really good.
You always sneak in the Frank Mason highlights, and that
Yeah.
would be number 1. Is that a question mark? Frank Mason highlights?
Yeah, like you want to watch Frank Mason highlights?
It was going to be on there. I knew
Yeah,
it. What's
that's
honorable
number 1.
mention?
I got a couple. Like you want a massage?
That is 4 words.
Want a massage?
Yes.
The new booth. That one's on there.
Why would you want to hear that?
The new booth.
Okay.
We both get excited whenever we talk about the new booth. March freaking Madness.
That's a good one.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're not crazy.
Wow. Yeah. Also
Those
good.
are my honorable mentions.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I feel like you were right or you are right would have been
Yeah.
definitely
Should've been higher.
top 3 for me. I was wrong is a big one.
Yeah, it would have been good.
I mean, that's everybody in relationships out there. That's a huge one to say.
Yeah.
I was wrong. You were right. That's all.
But Frank
helpful.
Mason highlights. Nothing
Mason
can top
highlights
that.
takes the cake.
Nothing can top that.
I'm all the way. Hey, after this, we are going to be on ESPN Kansas City with Kevin Flaherty from the Kansas City Sports Network. Plus, a little bit later in the show, we're going to hear from Bill Self, his midweek press conference, previewing Oklahoma State. Pokes a team trying to get back on the bubble as they're 4-8 in Big 12 play. So we'll hear from Coach, and then we're going to close out Rock Chalk Sports today with some game picks. ESPN Kansas City, KansasNation.com.
Hey, what's up, Chuck Nation? Roby Dunga here, and make sure you check out the new KansasNation.com. Rock Chalk.
Hello, it's Mark Whitlow from Office Products Alliance. OPA is not just your local office products connection. We have expanded our offerings to network cabling installation, security cameras, door access, and IT services. We all need to keep pace with new technologies. You can trust a Kansas City company that has been your partner for 32 years. Check us out at opakc.com. Supporting local businesses and our community is more important than ever.
We have a great selection of vehicles here. What's the best fit for you?
Maybe something a little smaller. Maybe just a little bigger. Getting closer. Perfect. Come experience the Chrome difference.
This is SSJ. Winter in Kansas City doesn't mean your lawn takes a break. It means smart homeowners get a head start. Let David and his crew from Custom Lawn and Landscape prepare your yard for a greener, healthier spring with winter fertilization, soil conditioning, and pre-emergent treatments that stop weeds before they start. Because when the snow melts, you don't want to start fixing your lawn. You want to already be winning. Trust Custom Lawn and Landscape, treating your yard now so it looks incredible later. Visit CustomLawn.com to schedule your winter services today.
Haney and the Hawks is presented by Jefferson's with 2 Lawrence locations. Home of the best wings in town, 21 signature sauces. You got to check them out. But if wings aren't your thing, how about a burger? They hand patty their certified Angus beef every single day. Also, hand bread their tenders. They make their ranch in-house. There is truly something for everybody at Jefferson's. Go see my buddy Brandon Graham and the entire crew at Jefferson's, either on Mass or Wakarusa in Lawrence, Kansas.
KansasNation.com and ESPN Kansas City. We're on Zoom now, joined by Kevin Flaherty from the Kansas City Sports Network. Kevin, thanks as always for coming on. A lot's been going on in the world of sports. Obviously, there's some stuff going on over at K-State. There was a big Monday game last night that affected the Big 12 standings as well. KU falls on Saturday to Iowa State. So now Hawks are sitting at 9-3. What did you see in that game in Ames? Because it was kind of a yucky one where Iowa State got a big lead and then KU sort of ran out the clock and kind of felt like maybe that one was bound to happen eventually.
Yeah, I think the first half is where you put a lot of the onus or the blame on the way that it went, because in the second half, Iowa State comes out making 7 of 8 threes. That's going to happen occasionally. And when you've got Momcilovic hitting, threes fading out of bounds, you've got Bateman hitting them from, 30 feet with a hand in his face, that'll happen. And I think you can survive those as long as you don't put yourself behind the 8 ball in the first place. And that was exactly what KU did in that first half. We talked about how well Kansas did taking care of the basketball in the first matchup and how Iowa State wasn't able to not just generate stops by forcing turnovers, but also get out and get some pick sixes, generate some offense against not set defenses, all of those things. And so that was the single biggest thing I thought heading in was Kansas had to take care of the ball. And what did they not do? They didn't take care of the ball. They got beat on the offensive glass. And so you're looking at it, at halftime, and Iowa State has approximately 35,000 more shots than Kansas. Yeah. That's just tough to win. It's just math, right, guys? You get more bites at the apple, you're going to have a better chance. And I think when you look at this Kansas team in particular, and we've talked about this previously, but they can't win if they're not the saltiest team on the court. That's the way that they need to get down, and especially in big games. Iowa State played that thing like their whole season was riding on it. Kansas didn't match Iowa State's energy, and ultimately I thought that was the difference.
Yeah, isn't it crazy? Because it was opposite in Lawrence. When Kansas, you felt like, even though it was January 13th, those guys, I think, thought that their season was hanging in the balance, and Iowa State similarly. And now what a difference 3 days makes for the Clones. From an individual standpoint, you mentioned the turnovers. KU ends up with 13, 4 apiece from Tiller and Council. But from a scoring production standpoint, Kansas has got to get more from Trey White. He's really been laboring recently. And then Peterson's been in and out of the lineup. Coach Self talking post-game about how we've got to practice together. Those two in particular got to be big scorers for KU. What needs to happen in your eyes?
Yeah, Peterson, I think, could have been a little better just if he made a couple more open shots, right? He had some good looks that just didn't go down. And so I'm not saying this is one of his better performances, but I think when you look at the couple shots that he missed, if, the open threes that didn't go down, if he makes those and so he's 5 for 10 from the field for 16 points or whatever, you're not going to say, oh, he was amazing, but you're not going to, run him down as much. And so for him, it's a make or miss game. You get those balls in those spots, you really need to make those shots. With Trey White, it's a little more complex, right? Because there was a time this season when Trey White was just thermonuclear from 3. And every time he missed a shot from the outside, you were shocked by it. You were like, man, I thought that was going in. And guys are going to have, upticks in shooting. They're going to have slumps in shooting. The best guys do. I think the thing I'd like to see from Trey, and not trying to run him down or anything like that, I'd like to see him be more aggressive outside of the outside shooting. I'd like to see him get back to where he's trying to draw fouls. He's getting the ball into dangerous spots, because I think that really helps this offense a lot. One, how many runs does it feel like Trey White has stopped opposing runs where he's drawn a foul when the other team has gone on like a 7-0 run or something? It stops the clock. Everybody kind of gets a chance to settle down. You make a couple free throws, and all of a sudden things are back on. And so I'd like to see him get back into that mode a little bit more. I don't think the aggressiveness from him has been quite where it has been or needs to be. And I think you need both he and Darren Peterson and Trey White functioning at their best versions of themselves for this team to reach their ceiling. And so for him, I'd like to see him be a little bit more aggressive off the bounce, get back into some of those dangerous spots and kind of see what happens with Trey White there.
Kevin Flaherty, KCSN, joins the show via Zoom. And Kevin, I want to talk to you about the front court, right? Flory Bidunga has been great all year, right? He finished with a double-double against Iowa State, but Bryson Tiller kind of labored there against Iowa State. And, Bryson has had such an interesting season so far, where we see a sharp increase, then plateau, then another big sharp increase, and then it feels like there's another plateau coming. And Kansas, they still have to face off against a couple of big time front courts as well. You look at Houston with JoJo Tugler, Chris Nack down low. You get Arizona again, right? Just coming up. What do you want to see more of out of particularly Bryson Tiller, but also Flory Bidunga, who continues to improve, continues to impress, but still just needs maybe a little bit more oomph?
Yeah, I think Flory just needs to keep doing what he's doing, and I think he'll get there. With Bryson Tiller, I'm not saying he's never been double teamed before, but I guarantee you he's never been double teamed like that before. When you look at how aggressive the double team was, when you look at the double team coming from a team that excels at forcing turnovers the way that Iowa State does. And that's important to note because, guys, what have we seen from Houston over the years? If a big man touches the ball, Houston double teams fast. It is a hard double team. And then they're maybe as good as anybody in the country of either forcing that guy into a bad spot, or you have to kick the ball out and then they rally around, just terrifically well. But when you look at what Bryson Tiller was doing so well, it was in that high-low sort of spot where he could either take a strong dribble and be in a dangerous position. He could set up Flory. I thought that was a little bit of the downside for Flory on Saturday too, was he wasn't getting as good of looks from Bryson Tiller. But I also think, Tiller needs to really work on, hey, there are going to be times now, especially since that got put on tape, where people are going to say, we're not going to let you get into the high-low you want to because we're going to send guys at Tiller really hard and fast and make him make that decision. And so I think the thing with him is he just needs to continue to play stronger. And we saw against Arizona, he played with a lot of toughness and a lot of strength in that game. And that was a big part of the reason Kansas won that game. Against Iowa State, I think he got cowed by those double teams a little bit, didn't make the best decisions, had turnovers, didn't get the ball in as many dangerous positions. And so I think you just want to continue to say, hey, Bryson, be tough, be strong with the ball, make your decisions, be decisive. And I think you're going to see him, like you said, you've had kind of the rise, plateau. I think you'll start to see that rise again.
Kevin Flaherty, KCSN, joins us. Kevin, game last night, obviously, I'm sure you caught at least part of it. It looked like Houston was going to close it out 63-53, but Iowa State winning, that helps Iowa State, it helps Arizona, it helps Kansas, it helps Texas Tech, because now you've got two teams with two losses in Zona and Houston, and Kansas is tied for third in terms of the loss column, at least, with Iowa State and Texas Tech. I guess, how do you see the rest of the regular season playing out? Because we've got 2.5 weeks. Iowa State has a tough stretch. Arizona has a tough stretch. We know Kansas still has to face a couple good teams. Texas Tech, their schedule looks, I guess, best on paper because they have BYU and at Ames. Otherwise, they're at home against very beatable teams. What do you give Kansas in terms of a percentage chance of winning the Big 12, or more specifically, what needs to happen for them to remain in this race? Because they're in the thick of it. Since Houston lost, they haven't lost any ground since last week, but we know that it's still going to be tough.
Yeah, I think that right now they are in the thick of it, and if you win out, you're getting a share. I mean, they control their own destiny, and that's easier said than done, obviously, when you've got games against Houston, at Arizona coming up. But at the same time, I think Kansas is capable of winning both of those games. And I'm not sure that Arizona is going to continue to go unbeaten from where they're at when you look at them having to play Houston, them having to play Iowa State. And so there's some real challenges for the Wildcats there. And so the short answer is win out and you're there. But the longer answer is, if you don't win out, even if you have one loss, you're maybe starting to get a little more into Lloyd Christmas territory, right? So you're saying there's a chance. And so I do think, as rough as it is this point, even with only being one loss down, you really want to put yourself in position to win out and decide it yourself, because who knows what's going to happen in all those other games. It could be that, hey, the rest of the field gets pulled back to you and you luck out, and whoever wins the title has 4 losses and it's a shared thing. or you can be in a situation where Kansas wins out. You take care of your own business, don't have to worry about that other stuff. And so I do think in order to get there, they need to continue to build out the chemistry like we've talked about. I thought before the ankle injury, before the illness, they were starting to figure out how to play with Darren Peterson. You were starting to see more ball movement. You were starting to see more player movement. The way that they were acting was more like a team versus, hey, you've got Darren Peterson being really good over here. You've got 4 players almost playing a separate game of basketball over here. Once that all comes together, there's nobody in this league and nobody in the country, quite frankly, that Kansas can't beat.
Yeah, 100%. And, Kansas, they got a tough one coming up against Oklahoma State. And Oklahoma State in conference play doesn't have a great record, but they have some nice wins. Non-con, they were playing some of their best basketball. I believe they got out of the non-con with only 1 loss, and relatively good non-con for them. They have one of the best scorers in the nation in Anthony Roy, by way of the Fighting Doug Gottliebs, if you will. Give us kind of a breakdown of kind of what needs to happen, because Oklahoma State's always a weird game every year, right? And I think we've gotten to the point where Bill Self is over Oklahoma State being the alma mater, but that was a lot of the story, at least early on in his career, was, he can't win at Oklahoma State because it's weird, and he's back at Gallagher-Iba and all this different stuff. But at this point, they've just got really good scorers, at least one really good scorer. Those 2 guards are quick, and this is one that you absolutely have to win. Kansas, Sean said earlier in the game, kind of hold their own destiny, right? You got to beat Houston, you got to beat Arizona at their place, but also you got to win the rest. And Oklahoma State's not going to be a cakewalk.
No, you can't give away any games anywhere else, because then even if you beat Arizona and Houston, you've basically given up any ground that you would get. And Oklahoma State's a tough matchup in that it's not easy to win in Stillwater, 1. But 2, Oklahoma State is one of those teams. I feel like they're a little bit like TCU. TCU's better than Oklahoma State, but TCU is an any given day team, right? Like, right. You don't want to run into TCU on the wrong day because they can be a really tough matchup. Oklahoma State, with their shot making, it comes and goes a little bit. There are some games like when they played Arizona, obviously the shot making was not there, and they got absolutely run off the court in that one. But you don't want to be in a situation on Wednesday where Oklahoma State is raining in and you're like, oh my gosh, it's one of these nights. And so it feels like a broken record a little bit, but this Kansas team their identity has to be defense, and their identity has to be, we're not going to give people oxygen to have those kinds of shooting outings against us. And so if the defense comes to play, if they come out, hopping mad because of the way the Iowa State game went, and the effort level is there, the defense is there, then I think Kansas wins this game. Where you get into trouble is you bring your C+ game, Oklahoma State is bringing one of those big shot-making games, and then all of a sudden you're in a situation where Oklahoma State believes they can beat you with 2 minutes left, and you don't want to be in that situation in Stillwater.
Yeah, you want fans to be filing out with 4, 5, 6 minutes left. But, Oklahoma State, they're going to score, but Kansas should definitely be able to score tomorrow too. Should be a good one at Gallagher-Iba, and one that's kind of been sneaky hanging around on the schedule in the middle of these top 15 battles that Kansas has had. Kevin, I know Dan wants to ask you about some of the Jerome Tang stuff going on, but one bracketology question for you. It seems like right now Kansas, though ranked number 8 in the AP poll, is on that 3 line. We know being at least on the 3 line is important for playing either in St. Louis, Oklahoma City. I guess your importance, or the importance in your mind, of Kansas moving up to a 2, or at least staying on the 3, because you don't really want to be on that 4 or 5 line when you have to face a 4 or 5, and then you have a 1 seed in the Sweet 16. What does Kansas have to do to make sure that they at least stay on the 3 line?
Yeah, I think 2-3 is where you want to be. And if you're a 2, if you're a 3, I'm not sure it's a big difference. I mean, you may be trading spots with the team that you're going to wind up playing later anyway. If you go up to 2, maybe the team you bump to 3 is one of the teams that you wind up playing. But I think if Kansas is able to, I don't want to say win out, but get through, maybe split the Arizona and Houston games, I think you're putting yourself in a strong position to be like right on that sort of 2-3 borderline. And nothing happens in a vacuum, right? A lot depends on what happens with other teams, what they do. And we know hey, Arizona's got some tough games coming up. Houston has some tough games coming up. Iowa State does. Texas Tech, I think, is in a really weird spot where you could be a 5 seed in the Big 12 tournament and wind up being a 3 seed if you're Texas Tech in the NCAA tournament. And so I think that's the tough thing about where you're at is it's impossible to predict. But if Kansas does finish out the year with, say, one more loss heading into the Big 12 tournament, you're probably pretty solidly on that 2-3 line and maybe a borderline 2 at that point.
Yeah, well, you certainly hope so. Like Sean said, for just geographical reasons, right? If you're at the 3 or above, you're probably in St. Louis or Oklahoma City. That's going to be a nice drive for KU fans. Kevin, one more thing I wanted to get in here, obviously, just because it's maybe some of the biggest news, at least in the state. Jerome Tang fired. I didn't hold back yesterday. I'm sure Nick Springer had some things to say about it as well. I bet he was probably a little bit meaner than I was, even though I was still relatively mean.
I would guess that's probably true.
Yeah. But your thoughts on this, because this is becoming one of the more litigious coach firings that we've seen, just with the buyout and, the verbiage in contracts and, with the timing and everything. And I guess it came out on Channel 13 News, I believe, WIBW, that I guess they gave him an option either to stay on as for the entire year and then resign, or be fired with cause. And he winds up choosing the fired with cause. Now he's lawyering up, trying to get all the money. But your thoughts, I guess, on the whole Jerome Tang saga, if you will. And what were some of your favorite memories from Jerome Tang's time at K-State? Was it the recording of Iowa State recording their huddle? Was it, the Wabash Cannonballs in the crowd? Just what were some of your best memories of Jerome Tang?
I'm not big for Schadenfreude. I know there are a lot of people out there that are, and I have to compliment you on your use of litigious, by the way. But
thank you.
But I do think Jerome Tang's a guy I got to know a little bit through his time at Baylor when I was at CBS, and then talked to him a little bit after he got the Kansas State job. And I thought, one of the great things about Kansas State is there's so much fan passion there. One of the dangerous things is when that ship gets turned against you, right? It's an environment that can be so incredibly supportive, and yet at the end, you have Bruce Weber saying, "Hey, the fans here are toxic." You have Chris Kleiman having the press conference that he did, where he's talking about, "I deserve respect for what I've done here," and that energy was kind of turned against him a little bit. And Jerome Tang was a guy that rode that wave when it was high, right? When you go to the Elite Eight with that team, and it was a really likable team with Keontae Johnson and Marquise Noel, a fun team as well. And K-State fans, they're thinking, man, this is our guy. And at that point, the Wabash Cannonballs and things like that, it's like, oh, this is our dude, the little baby, I think is probably everybody's favorite thing, where the whole team is. But that would probably be my favorite memory. But the thing is when all that starts turning against you, fans can be a little rough, and it can come off as, well, I wish this guy would stop climbing into the stands and start winning more games. I wish this guy would stop talking about his faith and win more games. All of these different things. And, it's tough when that gets pointed against you like that. As far as like the firing itself, I was actually at Kansas high school football coaching convention down in Mulvane when that broke. And I can tell you that there were a lot of high school coaches kind of looking at their, like, oh man, could they do this? Is this possible? And I think one of the things here that's worth noting is nobody wants to go to Discovery. I mean, we saw that, as Kansas guys when the Jeff Long discovery went down with David Beatty, and guys like, I'm not saying Jerome Tang doesn't have, something that he could be embarrassed about if they go to Discovery, but at the same time, if they're having Discovery with your entire athletic department, guys, I know I probably did some stuff I wouldn't love being out in the court of law
right
over the last 3 years. And you take an athletic department where you're talking several different people, and you just hire your football coach. The whole way that they sold the football coach thing, Gene Taylor, right, was, hey, I waited until Chris Kleiman retired, and then I went to Colin Klein. You get that Discovery out there. What happens when it shows that he called Colin Klein after a loss in September to Army or whatever. And those are the kinds of things that I think people aren't necessarily looking at. Is this is something that could get really ugly just because you're counting on so many people to be above board. When you look into an athletic department, chances are you got somebody who isn't. And I think that's why nobody wants us to get to Discovery. I think from a K-State standpoint, going for cause, or at least coming at it like this, makes some sense. If you feel like you can get that buyout down a little bit, if you feel like you can, this is the first step to negotiate a settlement at $12 million, then you've saved yourself some money and you made it worth it to do it. Now, if it's something where Jerome Tang is holding fast and he's saying, damn the torpedoes, and we're going to go into Discovery with this thing, it might be worth it to just say, hey, we'll pay that 18.7 or whatever it is for this thing to get settled. But as it is right now, I know a lot of people are really watching, because the way K-State couched that thing with, hey, it was embarrassing and whatever else, I thought Zach Barnett at Football Scoop had a really good point where he said a lot of coaches are watching this as a First Amendment thing.
Right.
Like, am I allowed to say, what I want or how I feel, and can I be fired for, talking about my team at a press conference? And so there's a lot of different angles here. Ultimately, I think when you saw that Jerome Tang hired Tom Mars, though, your eyebrows had to go up a little bit. So this could be a little bit of a hairy situation.
Yeah, a litigious mess, I would say.
Yes.
For sure.
Yeah,
with,
for sure.
With Tang and K-State. Interesting. Kevin Flaherty, Kansas City Sports Network. Always appreciate your insight. Hopefully the Hawks get a win tomorrow. Another one against Cincinnati, who I just found out 20 minutes ago is top 10 in KenPom defensive efficiency this season. So hopefully a 2-0 week for Kansas. Kevin, always appreciate your time.
All right. Thanks a lot, guys.
Yeah. Kevin Flaherty, Kansas City Sports Network. Big shout out as well to Crown Automotive. Miles Schneider and his team over on South Iowa will get you in the vehicle that you need. If you can't give them a visit, check them out at crownautomotive.com. More coming up. Rock Chalk Sports, ESPN Kansas City, and KansasNation.com.
KansasNation.com is presented by Game Day Men's Health Lawrence. Step up your game with Game Day Men's Health Lawrence.
Go all electric in a 2026 BZ for 0% APR. Built to move you, designed to electrify. Low APRs for 2026 Camry and Tundra models.
Together, we're elevating our potential, our pride, our traditions, and our dreams. Together, we're opening up a whole new world of possibilities. Elevate your University of Kansas experience with Jayhawk checking from Central Bank. Central Bank and KU, elevating together.
Hi there, Gary Joslin with Joslin's Jewelry. I'm not the class ring company. I'm a mom and pop jewelry store for 42 years. We were recently voted the gold medal #1 jewelry store in the greater Kansas City area by Ingram's Magazine. Come see us at Joslin's Jewelry, 9529 Antioch. Joslin's Jewelry, the jeweler you'll recommend to your friends and family.
Joslin's Jewelry for the best that's yet to come.
Hello, it's Mark Whitlow from Office Products Alliance. OPA is not just your local office products connection. We have expanded our offerings to network cabling installation, security cameras, door access, and IT services. We all need to keep pace with new technologies. You can trust a Kansas City company that has been your partner for 32 years. Check us out at opakc.com. Supporting local businesses and our community is more important than ever.
Every weekday beginning at 6 a.m., Stephen St. John kicks off your morning with New Day with SSJ. Then at 10, get in the zone with Jason Anderson. And at 2, listen to the program with Soren Petro, Kansas City's favorite sports talk. Only on America's largest all-sports radio station, Sports Radio 810 WHB, the power of sports.
Welcome back on ESPN Kansas City and KansasNation.com. Bill Self yesterday spoke to the media at his weekly press conference. Let's hear from Coach.
I'm wondering if tonight's or tomorrow night, Wednesday night's game, coming off.
We play 3 nights in a row. Okay.
Because of the result Saturday, the teams you have remaining on the schedule, does it mean a little bit more? Or is it?
Well, it's the results by Saturday. So if we'd have lost by 3, would it mean less? So yeah, I think every game this late in the season means more and more as you go, without question. So I think that's the way it is with everything. When we can see the finish line, the things that happen closer to the finish line are more important, because just like a game, you can make a mistake in the first 5 or 10 minutes and there's time to recover. You get under the 5-minute mark and whatever, there may not be time to recover. It's the same thing in seasons and scheduling too. So yeah, I do think they all take an added importance once you get into mid and late February.
The circumstances were a little different, but last time you guys lost on the road, the players kind of rallied around that. Obviously went on the 8-game winning streak. What was the reaction of the team coming back, and what has the feeling been around the building? I know you guys probably haven't been together much since then, but
no, we haven't been together yet. So yesterday was our day off, so we practice here in a little bit. So I think the guys will respond to it fine. I think the comparison's really not a apples to apples comparison. You know, you losing at Ames. What were they ranked this week? 6. Okay, so you know, it'd be a hard game regardless. But we did lose, and we didn't play well, and they were certainly more physical and took the game to us. But if anything, you know, people saying wake up call and all that stuff. You don't have wake up calls after every loss. I mean, that's not real. But can we learn from it, and can we be better next time out? That's what I'm focused on.
Is Anthony Roy one of the league's top players?
Yeah, I think he's one of the league's top players, and he's certainly one of the league's top shooters and scorers. You know, you look at Momcilovic, and we've seen him start the second half, and what he do, make 4 in a row to start the second half, and a couple of them were really, really hard. Roy has that same type range and that same type touch. I don't know exactly, what's he shooting, 45 from 3? And he's taking 9 a game. What's that? 42. So he's basically averaging going 4 for 9 every game. So you know, that's something that we're going to certainly have to contend with.
The way the portal works, I was just wondering, did you guys know about Roy being at Green Bay, turning it up? How does that work? Do you start to look into that when a guy's having an amazing year?
Yeah, if I'm not mistaken, he didn't finish the year last year. Did he? I'm not sure how many games. He played 11, so he didn't finish the year last year. But I knew of him, but I didn't know much of him. But Doug had told me that he was really a talented kid.
Oklahoma State's lost 3 in a row, so obviously, I mean, when you guys come to town, they're always ready. What stands out about them, and have you seen anything that pose some problems, maybe?
Speed. You know, they're 2 guards, 0 and 1, Claire and Curry. They're good, and they're fast, and their other players are quick and athletic. But I'd say the biggest thing that stands out is their speed and their ability to make plays when nothing's there. They're really good at getting downhill.
Curious with Darren, I think he has 3 assists in the last 5 games. Passing the ball, is there something teams are doing to force him out of those situations, or is that an area you feel like he can kind of take another step down?
I think he can take another step, but I do think, you know, when you trap him and do some different things, you take away the immediate opportunity for an assist off a ball screen that's drugged to 40 feet. So you're not going to get assist at 40 feet. Even if you get out of it, you're going to throw the ball to somebody, and then it's going to be his opportunity to be the assist guy. But what do you call that in hockey? A hockey assist, where it's a pass that leads to the pass. I think that we can become much more efficient doing that.
guess as you head into the final third of the Big 12 schedule, what do you think of the team's sense of urgency right now as they understand that every game's going to be really important at this point in the year?
Well, that's to the question earlier, or to Shay's question. Yeah, everything's magnified this time of year. There's no doubt about that. You know, guys are human, but the mature teams are the ones that are able to take every game and make it the biggest game the very next game. And that's what we have to do, just like other people have to do it too. Oklahoma State's got to do it. They're playing for an NCAA tournament berth. I mean, other people are playing for stuff, and there's still time to get stuff done. So we have to recognize that, respect that, and know we have to be at a different level ourselves.
And then you touched on it a little bit after the game, but what did the film show on the traps and the stringing out of ball screens and why that was such a problem for you guys?
Yeah, we did a terrible job. Whenever two people guard the ball, you should be able to play behind it, and we did a terrible job of playing behind it. And we let them drag it out rather than attack one bounce and play behind it from the middle of the court. We didn't do a good job. We kept the ball in our hands too long and allowed the post their weak side defenders to take away the nearest outlet. And when you take away the nearest outlet and you leave the furthest outlet open, you got two guys that are pressuring you hard. You can't make that pass, or the pass is a lot harder. So yeah, we got to be better at that.
Bill, there was a time, I think preseason, where Melvin sat in here and told us he was going to be the leader of this team. Obviously on the court and personality, you've talked about it a ton, that he is that. Is there one guy that it's their voice that carries the most weight with this group, though? Is it his, or is it someone else's, or do you have that? With our best teams, I always thought we did it by committee. I didn't know that we ever did it by, you could go back to 2008. A lot of people said Russell was a leader. He's one of the most quiet guys on our team. And you go back to 22. Who was our leader in 22? They all were. You could make a case that David McCormick probably was as much as anybody. So this one, I don't think anybody's really emerged to the point where that's natural. But I think Melvin is the closest thing to it. And no need to find it?
No. Yeah, we'd love to find it.
Sure. Okay.
You'd love for it to be Darren, but Darren hadn't been in a position where he's been out there enough yet that he feels comfortable in doing anything like that. So up until then, we'll just we'll do it by committee, which a lot of teams do.
Did Trey's root canal throw him off during the game?
If it did, we're not gonna make an excuse that it did. He was out there, and he wasn't as effective as he had been, but I'm not sure that's the reason why. Maybe it's because they guarded as well, and stuff. But he can certainly be more effective and do more than what he did the other day, and he will.
Last week, you only had one game, but it was, for you, was it an emotional week with Scooter and everything? You did a long, great speech and all that. Was it a taxing week for you?
For me personally?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think all the weeks right now are pretty taxing, but obviously that was and some of you guys were there. That was a very, very, very nice first-class thing that he deserved and family deserved, and athletic department did a fabulous job in helping make that happen. That was special. And did that take priority over my job? Only for that day. But that day, that was a priority. But that's not an excuse either. Scooter would be disappointed if we used that as an excuse. So.
What do you think of Jerome Tang being let go and the timing and all
that? It really surprised me with the timing and everything. I think sometimes, I've actually thought about this a lot, and I have a hard time coming up with a conclusion, because we don't really know everything that's going on, and we try to make determinations from the cheap seats based on what other people say or other people write. And I'll be honest, I like Jerome. I hate to see when any coaches gets let go, but I also know that it's big money and it's big business, and people make decisions based on what is in the best interest of their, employer, and the employer is Kansas State University. So, without saying too much, because I shouldn't have an opinion, because I don't know enough to have an opinion. That's why you have agents. That's why you have attorneys that look over contracts, and that's why you have attorneys from institutions that look over contracts, and you deal with the wording in the contracts. Bottom line, if KU wanted to get rid of me today, that's their decision, and that would be their decision, but all things would refer to the terms of the contract. And if I wanted to get rid of KU, which I don't, all things would refer to the terms of the contract. And I'm sure that's exactly what they're hashing out now, is how that contract is written. And from an outside looking in, I certainly hope fairness prevails.
6 games left. Do you like where your team is at? And is there one area where you guys can really take the next step, maybe to move forward?
I actually think do I like where we're at? I like more where we're at 4 days ago than I did 2 days ago. But we can become tougher. We can become better defensively consistently. We can understand more about what it's like to win away from home. We can definitely be much more fluid offensively. You know, the other day to the question that was asked about them stringing us out and all that stuff, and they did that, and we were awful handling pressure. How many turnovers we have for the game? Huh? What was it? 12, 10 in the first half.
Correct.
If you'd have told me going in the game we're going to have 12 turnovers in Ames, I would have said probably, okay, all right. And the battle of the boards was going to be even? Okay. You know, it wasn't okay. But sometimes, you know, it just, and they did a great job of making some hard threes too, that were, I know that Bateman and Momcilovic both make them at the very end of the clock that were bombs. But that's what happens when you play well, you know, and you have momentum. So we didn't do enough to take that away. But I think we can get better in all facets. I don't think that we're where we need to be in any area yet.
All right, Coach. Thanks, Coach.
All right.
That's Bill Self at the podium yesterday, Allen Fieldhouse Media Room, previewing KU and Oklahoma State. Dan will do a deep preview on the Pokes tomorrow to open the show, but a high-scoring team.
Yeah.
They're going to give up a lot of points. They're going to score a lot of points. Anthony Roy, you mentioned he comes over from Green Bay, and we know how it goes in Stillwater. The first, I don't know, however many 10, 12, 14 years of Bill Self's tenure, it seemed like it was such a struggle for KU. Now we don't play them every year there, so kind of different situation, but they're going to be able to score. KU, they're going to need more than 56, which is what they had on Saturday.
Yeah, I remember like growing up, that was always the thing of like, oh, Bill Self has to go back to his alma mater, and it's like now at this point, people are like, oh yeah, I guess he did play at Oklahoma. It's just not even a storyline anymore. But am I crazy? I do not like the way that I hate the Gallagher-Iba right there in there. That's again, off topic. I know you asked me about them, but I hate the Gallagher-Iba right there. There's like 4 rows and then a big sign that says Gallagher-Iba and then the rest of the stadium or the arena. I don't like it.
You don't like it? Okay.
No.
I always kind of like the character it had.
I don't like it.
Different than your normal arena.
I think it looks dumb. Anyway, yes, Oklahoma State, they are a really good program. Anthony Roy from the Fighting Doug Gottlieb's, tremendous three-point shooter, 42.3% from the three-point line, 44% from the field, takes a lot of threes, 17.6 points per game. He's their best scorer. And Parsifala, he's the next guy up. He's shooting 41% from the three-point line. So some good three-point shooters, at least from the two guys that they have right now. Victorious Miller, also a really good guard. He's shooting 40% from three as well, 12.2 points per game. Jalen Curry is really good too. So again, you look at Oklahoma State, you go, yeah, they're fine, right? But you look what they did in the non-con. They got out of there virtually unscathed with one loss and then kind of fell apart a little bit. They're still building some things, right? Obviously, second-year head coach. It's just a little bit different in terms of what we're used to for Oklahoma State, but I still think they're a really good program. And, you've had this one circled for a long time of a sneaky, tough road game, especially sandwiched between all these top caliber opponents down the stretch.
Yeah, and Kansas drops one to Iowa State. You think, oh, well, now Kansas is going to be extra motivated. That's not really how it works. We read into that a lot, but obviously Bill Self has been amazing after a loss for his entire tenure here at Kansas. Oklahoma State, in terms of conference play only, they are 10th in the league in field goal percentage, but they're third in three-point field goal percentage. That's going to be a factor, and they're top 5 also in scoring. So Kansas, who has been at or near the top of the Big 12 defensively for field goal percentage and three-point field goal percentage, right now Kansas third in field goal percentage defense. That defense is going to need to show up tomorrow. 8 o'clock, Kansas and Oklahoma State. 6:30 with the Crimson and Blue Show across the Jayhawk Radio Network. Game Day Men's Health Lawrence is a partner of us here at Kansas Nation. Mitch Bales, Sam Abram, and the entire team over there will get you back in the game. 60% of all men experience ED at some point in their life. If you're struggling with that, if you're struggling with weight loss, maybe low energy, feel like you might have low T, anything like that, they can get your questions answered at Game Day Men's Health Lawrence. It's a comfortable setting. Walk in. First visit, completely complimentary. They'll do a blood draw, a 3-step process, and 20 minutes later, you'll be reviewing your results with a licensed practitioner. Game Day Men's Health Lawrence, partners of us here at Kansas Nation. After this, some game picks, top 25 in Big 12 for tonight. Rock Chalk Sports, ESPN Kansas City, kansasnation.com.
What's up, everybody? Dan Peterson. Everybody go check out kansasnation.com.
This is SSJ. Winter in Kansas City doesn't mean your lawn takes a break. It means smart homeowners get a head start. Let David and his crew from Custom Lawn and Landscape prepare your yard for a greener, healthier spring with winter fertilization, soil conditioning, and pre-emergent treatments that stop weeds before they start. Because when the snow melts, you don't want to start fixing your lawn. You want to already be winning. Trust Custom Lawn and Landscape, treating your yard now so it looks incredible later. Visit CustomLawn.com to schedule your winter services today.
Performance, style, and technology. Check all your boxes in a 2026 Atlas, now 3.9% APR, or get 3.9% APR on a 2026 Jetta, the compact sedan that redefines the standard.
Hi there, Gary Joslin with Joslin's Jewelry. I'm not the Class Ring Company. I'm a mom and pop jewelry store for 42 years. We were recently voted the gold medal #1 jewelry store in the greater Kansas City area by Ingram's Magazine. Come see us at Joslin's Jewelry, 9529 Antioch. Joslin's Jewelry, the jeweler you'll recommend to your friends and family.
Joslin's Jewelry for the best that's yet to come.
Listen up, guys. Summer is coming, and there's no better time than right now to ignite your health and feel your best. Whether you're chasing peak performance, trying to reignite intimacy, or simply want to feel your best, Game Day Men's Health Lawrence is your calling. Situated in a plush man cave setting, their services for testosterone replacement therapy, ED, vitamin therapy, and weight loss are sure to give you the boost you need. Make an online appointment today by searching for Game Day Men's Health Lawrence. Step up your game in 2026 with Game Day.
Together, we're elevating our potential, our pride, our traditions, and our dreams. Together, we're opening up a whole new world of possibilities. Elevate your University of Kansas experience with Jayhawk checking from Central Bank. Central Bank and KU, elevating together.
Closing out Rock Chalk Sports on ESPN Kansas City, KansasNation.com. Appreciate everybody watching and listening, and check out KansasNation.com for the best coverage of all things KU. Dan, you are a big fan of mowing the grass, perhaps in particular, more so the post-grass mowing beer.
Yes.
But as you know, February is a very important month in terms of creating a beautiful spring lawn.
I'm glad you said that, Sean, because, a lot of times people go, it's January, it's February, I can take time off. I'm here to tell you you're wrong, because January and February are prime months to get your lawn in check. They're not downtime, it's prep time. And Custom Lawn and Landscape knows that better than anybody. If you want a plush green grass, you want to get ahead of the curve, get your grass looking prime, plush, the best lawn in the neighborhood, in the city, whatever it may be. Check out Custom Lawn and Landscape, customlawn.com.
I cannot believe
your better lawn starts here.
I cannot believe that you...
I didn't have the library pulled up, but I feel like that was good.
You said all of those words, but you never said plush.
Here's the thing. I did say plush. Yeah, I did.
Twice.
Henry's here, by the way. If you want a thick, green, healthy lawn this spring, the work starts now. January and February, prime time for Custom Lawn and Landscape to tree protect, prepare your yard before growing season hits. Winter specials. Their spots fill up fast. So now's the time to lock in your treatment for your spring lawn program. Book online today at customlawn.com. Custom Lawn and Landscape. Your best lawn starts here. Customlawn.com. That was like pretty close to what I did.
Custom Lawn, you got your money's worth on this segment.
More.
No, appreciate their partnership. Custom Lawn and Landscape. Check them out. Dan, game picks. We got some monster games tonight. How about the weeks that both Houston and Michigan have? Both of them have top 10 opponents twice, as Houston had Iowa State last night, and they've got Arizona on Saturday. Michigan, they've got Purdue tonight, and they've got Duke on Saturday. Let's start there, why don't we? Number 1, Michigan at number 7, Purdue. Purdue leapfrogs Kansas because the Boilermakers had victories on the road last week over both Nebraska and Iowa. Solid Big Ten programs. Purdue at home against the Wolverines, plus 2.5, over under 157.5.
Yeah, if Purdue has 1 million haters, I'm one of them. If Purdue has 100 haters, I'm one of them.
Which is funny because
if Purdue has one hater, it's me. If Purdue has no haters, I'm dead.
Which you said that last week, and then they went on the road and beat Nebraska, and then they went on the road and beat Iowa.
I saw.
Okay.
I don't care.
So winning does not matter.
No, it doesn't matter.
Okay.
No, Purdue's they're gonna publicly foul their pants on national television. Michigan is that good, and it's not just because it's Michigan. I just don't think Purdue has it in them. I thought it was egregious that they were the preseason number 1 team in the nation, and they're going up against the number 1 team right now in Michigan, who is well deserved. Yaxel Lindenberg is going to have an absolute day. Purdue doesn't have a single NBA talent guy on their roster. Michigan's going to run away with this.
All right.
So give Purdue minus 2.5. It's minus 112.
He has been on socials with a certain video related to the Boilermakers. Number 16, North Carolina. They head not very far to Raleigh to take on NC State. NC State minus 6.5 at home against the Tar Heels, over under 157.5.
I think I like the under in this game. I saw a crazy stat. North Carolina, they're 1-13 in quad 1, I believe.
Yeah. Classic ACC squad, right?
And the one is KU. I think that's their one.
Can't be right since they beat Duke.
Oh, no, that's right. Yeah, you're right. Where did I see that? Yeah, it's right here. Quad 1. So they 1-13. So they lost to Duke. Oh, no, they beat Duke. You're right. Never mind.
Okay.
I take it back. Never mind.
Who wins the game?
I'm looking at
North Carolina.
I'm looking at something else. Give me the under in this game. I think I like the under in this game. I don't think there's going to be a lot of scoring, and I think Darion Williams gets hot. I like NC State in this game. North Carolina's frauds. They're frauds to me. After the Miami fiasco, after I said that was an absolute trap line, and they're going to go into Miami and win, and then they didn't, and they were up by 30 points against Syracuse, and then there was a backdoor cover at the end. I don't care. NC State wins this game, and they cover the 6.5.
All right, so that's 2 games and 2 frauds. Number 22, Miami of Ohio is at UMass. Miami of Ohio, they have not lost this season. They're minus 2.5, over under 161.5. Does the dream end tonight in Massachusetts?
Question for you. If Miami of Ohio I guess, sorry, Miami University, because that's how they were the first, original Miami.
Yes.
So they don't want to be called Miami of Ohio. If Miami loses 3 games, let's say they drop 2 in the regular season, and then they drop 1 in the conference.
Yes, if they lose 3, they won't be in.
They won't be in.
They won't be in.
That's insane to me.
I think if they lose
that's actually insane
2, including one of the conference tournament, they should still be in. But yeah,
I think they dropped this one.
Undefeated. UMass
You're
plus
at
2.5.
UMass.
Dan is taking number 21 Louisville at SMU. Louisville also lacking a lot of big wins. ACC, they are minus 4.5 on the road, over under 166.5.
Man, this is a tough game, but I mean, Michael Brown's been really good down the stretch. I like Louisville in this game. Give me Louisville to cover that spread, even though the public doesn't like it. Public likes SMU. It's at minus 118 right now. I'm going the opposite. Give me minus 4.5 for Louisville, minus 102.
Number 18 St. Louis is having a great year. Will their coach be roaming the sidelines in the Little Apple next year? We don't know. Rhode Island is plus 10.5, hosting the Billikens, over under 152.5 in America's smallest state.
So for our resident St. Louisian here in studio, Henry Greenstein, who lived there for 4 years.
Yeah.
4 years.
Am I on the show right now?
I don't know.
He's just,
No.
Henry's hanging out. We're recording him later.
No.
I'm going to go ahead and take the Billikens to cover this line.
All right, Florida, number 12, hosting South Carolina. Over-under is minus 120. Oh, my gosh. The line is minus 22.5 for the Gators. Over-under is 154.5. Interesting, Florida is ranked number 12 in the country, but right now they're a 2 seed, so people think their resume is better than Kansas, who's ranked number 8, but they're a 3 seed.
Yeah.
Should be a layup at home in the Swamp for Florida.
I mean, that's the SEC bias, right? It bleeds into basketball a little bit. Florida is a really good program, and I think that they will cover. It's in Gainesville. And Florida's on a tear right now. Give me Florida to cover this line.
Number
Minus
15, Michigan State. They've been reeling a little bit. They're minus 8.5, hosting UCLA, over under 139.5.
Yeah, UCLA is not the UCLA of the past. Michigan State is really good. I mean, Tom Izzo's got a great program over there. They have a couple of really prolific scorers. I like Michigan State on this line, even though it is in East Lansing. I think UCLA comes in and they get a fistful of Spartans.
Ohio State hosting Wisconsin. Wisconsin's got a couple great road wins already this season. Buckeyes at home are plus 1.5, over under 157.5.
I like Wisconsin in this. I actually like Wisconsin too. So I'll take the point. No, I'll push the point away. I'll push the point away. Give me Wisconsin money line here. I think they get another big time win on the road against Ohio State.
Iowa and Nebraska in the the matchup of 2 teams that Purdue beat last week. Iowa
Corn
at
Bowl.
home is minus 1.5, over under 139.5.
The Corn Bowl. What a fun game. Iowa's really good, right? Obviously, McCollum there. Ben Sturtz has been on a tear. Nebraska, they lost a couple, but I still like Nebraska a lot. And Fred Hoiberg has done such a good job.
They still won in Iowa City?
I think they do.
You're going to take the point.
I think this is Nebraska ball's year. Nebraska ball, they win their first NCAA tournament game this year.
Wow, that is a hot take.
I don't think it is.
I mean, they're going to be a 2 seed, I think, so they probably will.
Yeah.
Maybe not, though. It could be a case of the Norfolk States. Who knows? So you're going to take the 1.5, I assume.
I'll take it.
Nebraska.
I'll take the point.
In the Big 12, this one is actually late night in Tempe. Arizona State hosting number 13 Texas Tech. This is one we've just been assuming Texas Tech will win. ASU is plus 7.5. Over under is 153.5.
I mean, Arizona State's not good. Texas Tech, obviously coming off that Arizona game, they're going to have some fire under them. I like to, and you talked about this a little bit. Like Texas Tech, what makes them good, right? They lost Darion Williams. They have a couple of guys from last year. Obviously, JT Toppin, reigning Big 12 Player of the Year. Christian Anderson, All-American caliber player. They didn't impress me a lot. Granted, they didn't have Christian Anderson whenever KU played them, but JT Toppin didn't impress me. I think maybe that's just a testament to Flory. Arizona State's not good. Give me Tech to cover this one.
TCU at UCF, just a classic Big 12 battle. UCF at home is plus 1.5, over under 155.5.
Oh, that's going to be gross. Give me TCU in this game. I think it's going to be a David Punch bonanza.
A punch bonanza. Okay.
Yeah. Give me the money line. Pushes it away. Money line. They go down to the bounce house adjacent and win.
TCU on the bubble. UCF trending that way as well, as they've dropped a few in a row. All right, it is, to close it out, a Jerome Tang revenge game.
Do you think he'll be in
Baylor
attendance?
is -3.5 at K-State. Over-under is 159.5. Associate head coach for K-State, Matthew Driscoll, leading his Wildcats. Will they have names on the back of their jersey? I don't know. But K-State 3.5-point dogs at home.
Does Jerome Tang pull a Roy Williams? Does he show up to this game wearing a Baylor sticker? How great would that be?
I mean, wow, the parallels are just amazing.
Yeah.
The situations are almost identical.
But it's like, I don't know. You think Jerome Tang's he's going to be locked into this game for sure. 3.5 is too small of a line. I think your coach gets fired. Now, okay, there's two ways to kind of look at this, right? Sometimes when a coach gets fired, then they get the interim coach fire-up speech bump, right?
That's true.
That happens a lot. I think the opposite's going to happen. I think K-State, I think PJ Haggerty, and all of those guys have just phoned it in. They're like, whatever, I don't even care anymore. Let's just get this over with. And they're not going to be able to hang around with two potential NBA lottery picks in Tunde Yesufu and Cameron Carr. That's just not going to happen. It's in Manhattan. I get that. This is going to be will it be heavily attended? I don't know. Maybe K-State fans are excited.
It will not be heavily attended.
You don't know. Maybe K-State fans are like, now that Jerome Tang is gone, now we're going to start coming to games and supporting these guys. That could be. That's the K-State mindset. I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility.
So what are you going with?
Oh, I think Baylor beats them by 20.
All right. Hey, bracketology was updated, which I appreciate. Again, I think this should be a daily thing. CBS Sports tends to do that better than some other sites this late in the season. First of all, focus on the first four. I mentioned TCU. They're in the first four, a.k.a. last four in, according to the experts over at CBS, with St. Mary's, San Diego State, and Mizzou. So we still have some work to do. Mizzou needs to drop a couple more games to get them firmly off the bubble and out of the tournament, make sure their Final Four streak continues. Houston now no longer a 1 seed. Michigan, Duke, Arizona, and UConn. So Cougars kind of blew their chance to stay on that one line, but right now they're firmly on the 2. They're going to have great opportunities to do that, particularly in their next 2 games against Arizona and Kansas. Iowa State also a 2. Illinois and Purdue a 2. So the 3s right now: Florida, Nebraska, Vanderbilt. How about that jump scare right there? And Kansas. 14 seeds for what it's worth. And yes, we're going to update this daily because that's what we do. East Tennessee State, Portland State, North Dakota State, and UC Irvine. I know that the Anteaters are big fans of Henry Greenstein and vice versa. The 6 seeds: BYU, North Carolina, Kentucky, and Tennessee. And I mean, that's not fun. The 5 seeds are not any fun either, with Arkansas, Alabama, St. John's, and Michigan State. Are you kidding me? Can Kansas get up to the 2 line? That would be great. It all starts tomorrow night. KU and Oklahoma State. We're going to preview that tomorrow on Rock Chalk Sports. Plus, we're going to have Henry Greenstein, KUSports.com, LJWorld.com as well, as he'll talk about that before he heads south on I-35. Rock Chalk Sports. That's going to do it for Elijah Schmidt and Dan Courtwright. Sean Kellerman saying we'll catch you tomorrow. ESPN Kansas City and KansasNation.com.
Together, we're elevating our potential and opening up a whole new world of possibilities. Elevate your University of Kansas experience with Jayhawk checking from Central Bank. Central Bank and KU, elevating together.
Better water now, pay later. What's not to love? Hey, it's Bob with Culligan Water, and for a limited time, we're offering no payments and no interest for 6 months on the water you and your family deserve. Our state-of-the-art residential equipment creates water that's purified, soft, and delicious. Contact us today for details and schedule your free consultation online at CulliganKansasCity.com. Culligan, it's water you love.
We have a great selection of vehicles here. What's the best fit for you?
Maybe something a little smaller. Maybe just a little bigger. Getting closer. Perfect. Come experience the Chrome difference.
Together, we're elevating our potential, our pride, our traditions, and our dreams. Together, we're opening up a whole new world of possibilities. Elevate your University of Kansas experience with Jayhawk checking from Central Bank. Central Bank and KU, elevating together.
Haney and the Hawks is presented by Jefferson's with 2 Lawrence locations, home of the best wings in town, 21 signature sauces. You got to check them out. But if wings aren't your thing, how about a burger? They hand patty their certified Angus beef every single day. Also, hand bread their tenders. They make their ranch in-house. There is truly something for everybody at Jefferson's. Go see my buddy Brandon Graham and the entire crew at Jefferson's, either on Mass or Wakarusa.